What if I told you that over 2,500 years ago, one civilization didn't just build an empire, it invented the idea of a superpower? This is a story that spans more than 1,000 years, shaped by ambition, power, fall, and rebirth. It's the story of ancient Persia, told through three great empires, the Achaemenids, the Parthians, and the Sassanians, and how all of that history eventually connects to the modern nation we know as Iran. It begins with the empire that changed everything, the Achaemenids. Under Cyrus the Great, Persia didn't just rise, it exploded onto the world stage. In just over a decade, Cyrus defeated three major kingdoms of his time, a pace that was almost unheard of in the ancient world. At its peak, the Achaemenid Empire stretched from modern-day Turkey to the edges of India, becoming the largest empire the world had ever seen. But conquering land was only part of the challenge. Controlling it required something more. This is where Persian brilliance truly stands out. They introduced a system of provinces known as satrapies, where local governors ruled while remaining loyal to the king. Instead of forcing their culture on others, they respected local religions and traditions, creating stability across a vast and diverse empire. At the heart of this system stood Persepolis, a grand ceremonial capital built to impress, where carvings showed people from across the empire, Greeks, Egyptians, Indians, all united under one ruler. It sent a clear message: many cultures, one empire. But even the greatest empires fall, and after 2 centuries of dominance, the Achaemenid Empire collapsed under the invasion of Alexander the Great. For a moment, it seemed like Persian power had come to an end, but history had other plans. From the northeast, a new force emerged, the Parthians. They weren't just building a new empire, they were reclaiming their homeland, gradually pushing out Greek rulers and restoring Iranian control. Soon, they faced a powerful new rival, Rome. What followed was not just war, but a clash of military styles. Rome relied on heavy infantry, disciplined legions built for close combat, while the Parthians mastered speed and mobility through cavalry. Their armies included heavily armored cataphracts for direct assaults and fast-moving horse archers for long-range attacks. Their most famous tactic, the Parthian shot, allowed them to fire arrows backward while riding away at full speed, confusing and frustrating Roman armies again and again. This rivalry lasted nearly 500 years, becoming one of the longest conflicts in history, and throughout it, the Parthians managed to hold their ground against one of the most powerful empires the world had ever seen. Eventually, the Parthians declined, and once again, Persia was ready to rise. A new power emerged, the Sassanians. But this was more than just another empire. It was a revival. The Sassanians came from Persis, the same homeland as the original Achaemenids, with a clear mission: to restore the glory of ancient Persia. They built a strong, centralized state and sparked a cultural renaissance where art, architecture, and royal traditions flourished like never before. Their influence spread far beyond their borders, shaping neighboring civilizations and extending as far as China. One moment captured their power perfectly. King Shapur I defeated a Roman army and captured the Roman Emperor Valerian alive, later carving this victory into stone, showing the emperor kneeling before him. It was more than a military success, it was a message of dominance. Yet constant warfare with Rome slowly drained both empires, and by the 7th century they were exhausted. Into that weakened world came a new force rising from Arabia, and the Sassanian Empire fell, bringing an end to the age of ancient Persian empires. But the story doesn't end there. Even though these empires collapsed, the identity of the region did not disappear. The land continued to be known internally as Iran, a word meaning land of the Aryans, used by its own people for centuries. Outside the region, however, especially in Europe, it was still widely known as Persia, a name derived from the ancient region of Persis. This continued into the modern era until 1935, when the ruler of the country formally requested that the international community adopt the name Iran, aligning the global name with what its people had long called their own land. Persia didn't vanish, it evolved. Its culture, language, and identity carried forward, transforming through time into the modern nation of Iran. This thousand-year story reveals a powerful pattern of resilience. The Achaemenids built the blueprint of empire, the Parthians defended it against Rome, and the Sassanians revived it into a cultural golden age. And even after all three fell, the civilization itself endured. Because nations may change names, and empires may rise and fall, but identity can last for thousands of years.